Hey guys, Vince 44 doing another Valiant review. This time we're doing Archer and Armstrong number 4. Now, I know a lot of you guys don't think, a lot of people I've been reading a lot of comments and a lot of reviews, people saying that they're dropping Archer and Armstrong and that they don't like it and it's probably the weakest of the Valiant titles. I extremely strongly disagree with that. I love it. I think it's my personal favorite. I mean, I know it's a personal preference thing, but I just love this. I've always loved Archer Armstrong, even the old ones. And I know this is not quite the same Archer Armstrong that from the '90s, but it's still really good. It's got a lot of comedy in it. There's a lot of really funny kind of setups and references and situations, and I just love the pairing of this group. I love how many weird similarities but differences these two guys have. It's just the weirdest matchup. You got this immortal drunken slob who doesn't even like to fight. He just loves to drink and have sex. And then you got Archer, who's like this. He's this really self-righteous, high morally rooted, naive kid who's really easily manipulated. But he's also extremely powerful, extremely tough. He can hack into pretty much any skill set in the world and use it. Like he can become a master boxer or a master chef or whatever. It's great, and they make a great team because Archer's got like the ability to do a lot of good, but he doesn't really have doesn't have the guidance that Armstrong basically gives the guidance to Archer to make the right decisions, and Archer basically gives Armstrong a sense of morality that Armstrong normally wouldn't have, and almost a sense of faith. That's one thing they kind of touch up on a little bit in this issue, or maybe it was the last issue, that I really like about Armstrong is that Armstrong's actually an atheist, which is interesting. Because I love the reason why he's atheist, because he's an immortal, so he's been alive longer than he's been alive since the beginning of history, since before Christ, before the Bible was written. So to him, God's newer than him. The concept of Jesus and all that and Christianity, it's all newer to him. So he just doesn't believe in it. I mean, I love that. I love that concept. Basically, this issue lets off where the last one ended with with Archer's sister. Well, not real sister, but his sister in the cult. Shooting Armstrong's eyes out and shooting Archer in the chest, and then retrieving the last piece of the what the hell it's called, the boom, getting the last piece of the boom to these really kind of cool Nazi Shaolin monk guys. That's another thing I want to talk about. This comic has the most awesome villains. I mean, last issue we had ninja nuns, which was pretty awesome, and this issue we have Nazi Shaolin monks, which is, I mean, who the hell is writing this shit? And they need to get a gold medal for writing this stuff. I did really. That's one thing that I'm kind of iffy about. That's probably my one complaint, is that Archer seems to be completely fine from his arrow in the chest that he took. I mean, I know he didn't hit it. I know it didn't hit it already. I know it went straight through, but still, he has a hole in his chest. It should be hurting him more. It should be hindering him more than it is. And this issue is not really that far in it's just a few hours, maybe. It's maybe a day or two at the most past last issue. They don't really go into it, but it can't not be that much farther in time. So it's just weird to see that he's doing his kung fu stuff and doing his acrobatics, even though he's got a fresh arrow wound. I don't know. That's just a complaint I had. It was it seemed like a plot hole to me. I do like that the Archer, took his sister's crossbow from last issue and is using it, because I mean, I like how Valiant is slowly kind of easing their way into a lot of their characters' traditions, because Archer was always a crossbow guy. He always had a crossbow, and I was kind of saddened me to see that he didn't have it in the first couple issues, but I love that he's got it now. It's not his little tiny, wussy crossbow like he had in the old comics. I'm actually glad they gave him a normal size crossbow. It makes more sense. Because I mean, where do you even get the little tiny bolts to put in that thing? I don't know. I'm also really hoping that in the Bloodshot's comic that he gets a katana, because he could definitely use it. I always loved the fact that he had a katana all the time. And I do like that they show this little panel here. Armstrong's eyes are slowly starting to grow back. Like, it actually takes him like a day or a couple days for his eyes to fully grow back. And I do like that. He's starting to be able to kind of get shapes and colors, but he can't really figure out, see the things. And there's a lot of cool historical stuff in these comics, like a lot of neat bit historical lines and stuff that I thought were pretty cool. Yeah, awesome actually. And sorry I got distracted. Something popped up my screen and I lost focus for a second. Sorry. This issue also has the first. You can't really see it in this panel. There's a cool action scene right there, but right here at the top, this is the first appearance of a geomancer in this new Valiant universe, which is pretty cool because the geomancers were a huge part of the Valiant, the Valiant universe. The geomancers were a huge part of that. So it's nice to see that they're Valiant, throwing them in there. And Valiant has always been, even the old school Valiants were good about this. They're really good about easing their way into their continuity, not just throwing you a bunch of stuff to try and remember and figure out. They're good about easing their way in. Same way they release some titles. They release some titles very slowly. Like they start off with just one title and 2 titles, 3 titles, and they're like 6 months into their company's production, but they only got 5 titles, and I love that. They're going real slow with it. They're letting you get familiar with the characters and kind of get a feel for the characters and see if you actually want to buy the comics before they start just throwing more out, which I can really respect that. There's a really cool fight here between the Nazi shaman monks and Archer, because these guys basically have the same abilities as Archer. They kind of explain it a little bit. That's just like this weird, it's just like kind of psychic network that allows, if your mind's strong enough, you can connect with all the skill sets and all the information in the world. It's kind of like it's basically like a universal Wikipedia. You can just use your mind. It's the best way to explain it. And I love there's a little fight here between Archer and the monks. The monks are just, they're just as good as Archer, but there's 3 of them, so they outnumber him, so he's just getting his ass beat. And it's really the first time he's really gotten his ass beat in the series, which is pretty cool. And of course his sister, she's kind of feeling bad about it, and she's actually just discovered the truth about how she's been manipulated. So she just grabs a random weapon out of Armstrong's satchel, because I want to talk about that for a second. Armstrong's satchel is just like it's actually bottomless, like it's a magic satchel, and it can fit as much stuff as you can possibly put in it. So it's just full of all these weird and magical artifacts that he's collected through his thousands of years of life. So she pulls out this pretty cool little like a lightning gun thing that just takes the shaman monks out. Yeah, these comics definitely have spoilers in them. I should probably start throwing spoiler warnings earlier. We have a very like Indiana Jones and the Raiders of the Lost Ark kind of moment here, where the villain's activating the boom, and everybody's starting to die, and Armstrong's freaking out. Armstrong's pleading to the villain to stop this because it's going to destroy the entire world and whatever. And then Archer gets a vision from Armstrong's brother, who's actually for you guys who are not familiar with the 90s Valiant, I'm gonna start calling it Valiant 1.0. He's actually Armstrong's brother is actually a time traveler, like he has the ability to travel through time and all this stuff. They call him the Time Walker, and I'm guessing that's what he's doing here. I'm guessing he's not actually like God. Archer thinks he's God, but he's actually just like time traveling. And he's trying to explain to Archer that he has to save the world. So Archer ends up hitting the machine just the right point and saves the day. And I'm actually really running out of time. I thought I had more time to go over this, so I'll try and make it quick. The geomancer ends up being killed by the boom falling on him, which is really bad because the Eternal Warrior, who I'm really looking forward to the next issue, his sole mission in life is to protect the geomancer. So now that the geomancer's dead, he's coming after Archer and Armstrong, mostly Archer. So the next issue is gonna be really awesome because they're going to be fighting against the Eternal Warrior. And that's all the time I got. Thank you guys.